Somebody we know recently said to us, I need to be on the first page of Google. Not surprisingly, we hear that a lot. Stick around and we'll tell you why it's more important than ever for businesses to scale the heights of Mount Google, as we like to call it, so that they could be there when their best prospects are ready to buy. Let's play Main Street Marketing Challenge. Main Street Marketing Challenge pinpoints the business goals of business owners and suggests solutions so that you can better navigate the vast changing landscape of marketing and advertising and the media world in general. I'm Bruce Apar, and this is Bruce Mishkin, and we are partners in Pinpoint Marketing and Design. So Bruce, today we wanted to talk about something that we were participating in, a really good webinar that we saw.
Right.
And the title of the webinar, and we want to obviously give due credit to the company that put it on, Acquisio, right?
Right.
The title of the webinar is What Marketers Must Know About the New Google AdWords.
Right.
And I know more and more what an expert you are in Google AdWords. And it's just amazing. I know you've talked about this, how Google is constantly changing its methodology and best practices and features and
and
that's
they're testing. They're constantly testing.
Yeah.
They'll go maybe to Hungary and test something, okay, or they'll test something in San Francisco.
Oh, you mean like test markets? Yeah.
Yeah, right. But they'll do they'll test changes in the formatting or the layout of their results pages, and you see it all the time.
Right.
Right.
And for example, I mean, we have talked about this on other shows, but of course there'll be people seeing this who probably haven't seen the other shows. As the webinar pointed out, the right rail, as it's called, which, of course we all clarify, used to be those ads that you saw on the right side of a Google results page. Is something they've done away with, right?
Right, they did away with it, I believe, in March or April.
Right, of this year. Yeah.
There used to be 2 or 3 ads on the top left of the page.
Right.
And then there were 8 ads along the side of the page.
On the right side.
On the right side, or what they call the right rail.
Right.
And they've done away with the right rail for a number of reasons, one of which is to align the look of Google's results across all devices. So on smartphones, there wasn't room for little ads on the right side of the page.
Right.
Tablets, you can have that, but everything's aligned right now. But mention how Google changes things. They make these very subtle changes. Like for instance, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they changed the color of the word ad in their the advertisements that appear in the Google results. They changed it to green.
Right.
And some people speculated that they changed it to green because the green was the same color as what's called a display URL in the ad, and that it would look less like an ad. I don't think so. I think that green is pretty prominent and distinguishes the ads from the organic results.
Right, and of course we should say that the URL you're mentioning is just the web address of where you're going to go if you click on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But speaking of changes, I mean you may find now on Google that when you have a question to ask, it's not going to necessarily send you to a website.
Right.
It will give you the answer, and there'll be I forget the name of it, an intelligence box or something like that. They referred to it in the webinar yesterday. But you might say, who was Princess Diana? Okay.
Right.
And instead of showing a list of websites, they'll have an area on the page, maybe about that big, Princess Diana, blah 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 blah. Okay.
Right.
And then it might say Wikipedia underneath, but it'll be large size, and they're trying to give you an answer without you having to go to a website.
Right. Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's everything you ever wanted to know about anything, right? I mean, that's...
Right, and they don't do it, but they don't do it for everything.
No,
right? But again, you can ask a question and get an answer. But this webinar yesterday was on Google AdWords, and Google AdWords is something that we've specialized in for many years. I guess about 13 years now, and I know that most people in the audience have probably never tried to advertise on Google, never thought about it, and may not realize that they could advertise on Google, or they thought it was only the province of large companies like Amazon or Best Buy or what have you. But the fact is that we're seeing a major shift among local businesses moving their ad dollars from print vehicles and other types of vehicles into this online space, and especially into Google, because it's the only place where buyers and sellers can come together in a unique way. Okay?
Right, and we did talk about that also in another show, how there's a very steady uptick in, as you say, the share of advertising dollars that's going to digital.
Right, but one thing that, if you've never tried Google AdWords and you're a local business, it's worth exploring.
Right.
It's worth exploring because you may find that of all the advertising you do, and you'll probably find this if you do it right, is that it may give you the best return on investment of any advertising you've ever done.
Right.
And the reason, again, is because there's no waste. But if you've never advertised using Google AdWords on Google, and if you've even if you have advertised, there are some changes coming along with the formatting of Google AdWords and the ways that you can advertise that are different from before, and there's some new opportunities that weren't there before.
Right. And as I asked at the outset of the show, like, why do people want to be on the first page of Google? The answer is in how people are shopping now and how they're researching products or services that they want to buy. And there were a number of really important statistics in the webinar that we're talking about. But almost 53% of people who were surveyed say that they typically research products before buying them on a smartphone. Or as this says, it's not just a smartphone, mobile web, which could be a tablet too, right?
Right.
Yeah. But so more than half of people, if let's say you want to shop for a hoverboard, more than half of people will start looking on their smartphone, to find out more about hoverboards and prices and where they could buy them.
Right, but but hoverboard is a product, and people are also looking for local services, and that's where the greatest activity is in Google AdWords. Google has said that a minimum of 20% of all searches on Google are searches for local businesses.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a very significant number when you think about the billions and billions of searches that people do every day on Google. The fact that the vast majority of people use Google every day for one reason or another.
Right.
And there's a, I'm not sure how to put this, but there's, I think that if businesses, whether you're in a retail business or a service business, whether you're a men's clothing store or a dollar store or a landscaper or or a plastic surgeon or a podiatrist or whatever it might be, people are looking for what you do. And everybody is looking. Almost everybody's going to check out your website, but if they don't know who to turn to, they need a specialist of some sort, they're going to go onto Google and check things out. And the real point is, if you're not there, you're never going to get that phone call.
Right.
If you're not prominently on that first page of results of Google, you're not going to get the call.
Right.
Okay.
Or as we say in one of our pieces of literature, that if a customer or prospective customer can't find you, one of two things will happen. Your competitor will find the customer, or the customer will find your competitor.
Right. And that's why, there are two sides to Google, and we've talked about this before, but let's just reiterate. There are what are called the organic results. So on a search, the organic results are what Google decides to show you. They can't be bought. They're not paid for. That these are the results that you get that Google feels are most relevant to your search query, to the search term you put in. Above the organic results are advertisements, where people buy keywords that people commonly use when searching for a business like theirs to display ads only when those keywords are entered by an individual. So for instance, if somebody enters landscaping contractor or roofing contractor or plastic surgeon or dermatologist or whatever, or they may even enter what the problem is, and this is very, very common, where people won't say dermatologist, they'll put clear up acne as their keyword. Now, a dermatologist will buy a keyword like clear up acne, remove acne, too many pimples, get rid of pimples. There are all these different terms that people are going to use, and what you do is you bid for these terms on Google, and that determines your position. So if organically your business is not showing up on the first page of Google's results, it's a good idea to think about, well, how do I get right in front of that person at the moment they need what I do? And the way to do that and the way to guarantee that is through Google AdWords. Now, one of the big changes that's taking place in Google AdWords is in the size of the ads themselves. These are not what are called display ads with pictures and all that. They're all text ads. Up until now, and it's not going to take place for a couple of months, but anybody out there who's doing AdWords right now should know about this. You were previously allowed 95 characters for the text of your ad. That is going up to 140 characters. That's a significant increase for you to tell your story, to include words in your copy that will motivate somebody to click your ad, which will take you to the page on your website. It could be your home page, it could be a page about a specific topic that the person is interested in, will take you to that page immediately, and then that person is on your webpage, and they can make a decision to call you or to not call you or to check out other websites, etc. But being there, being in the first or second or third or fourth position on Google is prime real estate compared to other forms of advertising like newspapers, etc., and TV. It's a much lower cost to reach prospects. With the other media, you're not always reaching prospects.
And we should emphasize, because it understandably could be easily misconstrued, you said 140 characters, not words.
Not words.
So, that means 140 letters, symbols, whatever the
and
case
spaces.
may be. And spaces, So needless to say, every word and almost every character has to be chosen really carefully, It's really precious real estate.
It's precious real estate, and now Google is increasing that real estate. So you're in a situation now in which a lot of people who are more into the SEO game, and I certainly believe in using tactics to get your business prominently displayed on Google's first page of results. But what's happening and what has happened is that Google's the ads have been pushing the organic results further and further down the page.
Because that's where Google's money is, right?
Because that's how Google.
Money,
if you didn't know this before, if you've ever wondered, how does Google make money? And we discussed this in an earlier episode. 97% of their revenue comes from those little ads that you see on Google, and that revenue is paid only when somebody clicks that ad. The advertiser is charged when an ad is clicked. So you might be charged 80 cents or $5.40 or $15 for a click, depending on the competitive nature of your business. How many people are competing for those same keywords against you. That's why it's so important to have somebody who knows what they're doing to handle this for you. But so what's happened is Google is expanding the size of the ads. There are no more ads on the right side of the page. By expanding the size of the ads, it's going to push the organic results down so that the ads are going to get more attention than ever before.
And the one of the fascinating aspects of all this is, we were talking about this before we went on the air, that needless to say,